Hello everybody, this is Mr. Boder with ninth grade science. Here's what we're doing today. As you can see, you should already have your Crane Design Challenge packet out, and you should have already reread the perfect score section on that rubric. I'm talking about back here on the rubric, just the perfect score section, right? Reread through that. If you haven't already, grab that packet, read through there, because we're going to need that information as we talk about how we're going to do this challenge. Okay, so you've got this Crane Design Challenge. You've reread the rubric. We've got to now find some answers to these couple questions before I kick you loose and let you go in the lab. Number one, you notice that you're getting points for your goal weight, for having lifted that goal weight, right? If you look over to the sideboard to your right in the class, you'll notice that the goal today is 500 grams, which is a doable challenge. It's tough, but I think you can do it. After that, we've got to think about what is it that you need to be remembering to do as we make changes to our plan. 500 grams is part of it. Lifting as heavy weight as you can, as high as you can. But the other thing that we're really looking at is how do we take engineering notes? How do we record our information and talk about and have records of what we did and how we were trying to improve? So you remember last class, last week, we looked at some really, really good examples of science notebooks, right? We looked at, oh yeah, that's right. We looked at Alexander Graham Bell's book. We looked at Marie Curie's. We looked at a couple student examples. And we made this list of things that are really good to have in a lab notebook. We were talking about a mix of drawing and writing and data recorded in tables. We're talking about an organizational system, some white space in there. I'm looking for you to be doing that today, and I'm going to be assessing you formatively on how well you can do that, because when it comes to the summative for this unit, I will be summatively assessing your ability to take those kind of records as well as to do the challenge for the summative project. Okay, I'm going to give you an example actually. This student did a really, really nice job on their records. You notice we've got here's testing record 1. They've got a sketch of what it looked like. There's the results. And then they go down to testing 2. They changed a couple things. And then they go to test 3. They got test 4. We're changing as we go. They've even got, they go onto a second page, which was really awesome. And they're records. It's a little blurb about what happened, some notes, and then they're making improvements each time. Here they cut a little notch. They added a counterweight. And they go, which is awesome. This was a really fantastic job. So I just wanted to show that off. Don't forget this page too. We're going to calculate the work you can do. You want to be getting some data down here. I'm noticing something that a lot of students do. The mass needs to be in kilograms, right? Those weights show you in grams. So you got to remember how many grams are in a kilogram. Hopefully you should know this, but it might be a reminder for some folks. There's 1,000 grams in a kilogram. Right, so you got to do a quick conversion. It should be really easy. 1,000 kilograms in 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. Also, you're going to measure your height, right? You're going to be measuring the height of your lift. The student did it right. They put it into meters. So you got to think the meter stick or the ruler is going to have little centimeters on it. How many centimeters are in a meter? Do the quick conversion. And that should be something else you remember, that there's a 100 centimeters. Sorry, I'm doing this on my mouse pad, which is really messy. 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So do those conversions. We got to be in meters and kilograms when we do these calculations. Okay, so remember to be catching those records as you go. Slow yourself down every time you make a change. All right, we got to get this recorded. And then getting new pieces of tape or new cardboard. If you are doing tests, and I want you doing tests, if you're doing a test and it fails, that's okay, that's great. You know how the cardboard can get those little crinks in it, and then it's never quite as strong again, right? If you've done a test and the test caused something to fail, you can bring that failed piece of cardboard, those cardboard strips, up to the guest teacher and be like, hey, we tried our test, this has a crink in it, can we get a fresh one? We will swap you 1-to-1. I'll swap you one part for one part. If you are just messing around and you rip the cardboard because you're goofing off, I'm not going to switch that, right? But if you're doing it as part of your testing, I'll switch that for you. Same thing with duct tape. If you have a design and then you're God, we just need to fix this part of the arm, but we got to take all this tape off to do it. Once the tape's off, you can't really put it back on, right? It loses its stickiness. So I will swap you out tape for tape just on stuff that you've used. Okay, so I want to give you a little bit of a head start because you guys had that short block last time. if you are stuck for ideas on how to build a crane and what a crane looks like, this is an amazing way, a super simple, dead simple way to build a crane out of that box and those cardboard strips. You got your strips, you got pencils through it. What they did is they cut just there and then they folded that flap up to create a little spot, and they did it the opposite way here. They jammed the pencil through. That's a really good way to make a like rolly thing. This little arm here is totally extra. If you can make that, that's amazing. But focus on getting just a pencil jammed straight through there. You got your string cup. That's one way. That's one way. If you want to make it a different way, totally do that. Also, you don't need to have the box as a box, right? Like you can cut out, like this part of the box over here is doing nothing. So you could like cut this out, right? And then you'd have all this cardboard that you could like tape onto here as like reinforcements. Think about those kind of things. Okay, big reminder. Do not forget, the packet is due at the end of class today. I am collecting those. If you don't get it done, I'm marking it as missing. You can turn it in late, of course. There's no penalty for that, but I am going to be marking it as missing. So as you go, make sure you're like, okay, focus as a group, work really hard. Don't waste time on stuff you don't need to do, but do make sure you're getting the stuff you do need to do. So like, make a design, get it going, and then make sure you're taking records, get that page done, and get that turned in at the end of the class. Okay, if you have any questions, the guest teacher is here. Also, if the guest teacher can't answer the question, I bet we can pop next door to Mr. Diddy, and he will be able to answer that question as well. Oh, I forgot one thing. Hey, we're measuring the height off of the desk, right? So it's not, you don't want this dropping all the way to the floor. That's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is you've got your lab table, and we're going to go straight up from the lab table. That's the height we're going to be measuring, okay? But it should actually be just the measure to the bottom of your weight. That's your height right there. Make sense? Yeah, because a crane sits on the ground and lifts stuff up from the ground. Okay, that's the one thing I wanted to mention. Other than that, you should be getting going in lab here really quick. Thank you very much, everybody.